Waterwash is my title. The concept came after a couple of years of being an environmental activist when I realized I could do a public art project, a public science project, and a public outreach education project all in the same package. A lot of artists are interested in doing educational projects or talking about environmental issues, but there aren't very many people who make projects that actually clean the water. And that's my challenge and my goal, is to try and make projects that do really work. The biggest problem on the Bronx River, and what the Bronx River Watershed Initiative was designed to address, are the CSOs. When there is torrential rain, the sewers are joined by the road runoff, and essentially they overflow into the river. In the case of the parking lot here at ABC, there was actually quite a bit of water going directly into the river. Not only the hydrocarbons, but salt from the winter time, sediment, sludge, etc., and runoff from the road would be entering the river. It was quite an unusual idea to do a public project on a private piece of property. So I was very lucky. I called up Paul Chapman here at ABC, and he said, you know, I grew up swimming in that river. I'd love to do what I can to help clean it. So you see the area at the very top of the site with the chain link fence and the graffiti. We're going to start up there where the water comes out, make a pipeline. It'll bring the stormwater down from 18 feet down to the grade of the wetland, which is starting right about where the pilings are. And the wetland will go from this end 150 feet, where it will meet up with the viewing platform and the pathway that will go up to the Bruckner Expressway. Even as recently as 60 years ago, evidently, this was all wetlands. This building was built in the 60s. In the 40s and 50s, this area was all wetlands. And that's one of the reasons why I built wetlands, because they're nature's natural buffer zone. The wetland itself will not be that wet most of the time. Most of the time it will be dry. But during stormwater events, the water will come down from the parking area and enter the wetland. It will be in the wetlands for about 24 hours while the intense storm event dissipates, and then by and large it will be basically dry, but growing with these plants that are wetland plants, and there are a wide variety of them. Some of them have quite beautiful flowers. This is the hibiscus moschutus. This is the good plant. This is the native plant. You guys know what invasive species are, and one of the reasons why we try to keep them out of native habitats. They have a tendency to take up all the light and resources and nutrients, and they don't provide native habitat. The contractor that I have, Bob Govanelli, he is an incredible excavator. Mover of earth, he calls himself, a mover of earth. He does the most sculptural things with these huge machines. Good morning, Bob.
Everything good?
It's good. We have to keep the boot open.
You have to keep the boot open.
So as long as it's not covering the boot, it can be higher, right? So, anyways, we're doing it from the bottom, so we'll fix it when we get to the top.
Well, no, I would start here.
No, we have to start at the front. The front is also what's most visible. I want the curve like this on the outside edge of the corner. I think this is going to go back a little bit. This needs to come out quite a bit. Let's just try moving this one out first. This and this. The trouble is it dips down in the middle here.
Level.
Does that look level? All this should be at least 2 or 3 inches higher at this end.
It got much larger than what I had said.
It got much smaller up here, and it got much larger down here.
It's gotten much larger overall.
No, it's gotten smaller overall.
Oh, wait. Oh, no.
Out of screws?
No, I had it at the right spot.
there.
Okay. Takes 2 seconds to remediate.
Oh, here, put this one down. Thank you so much, man.
When you want something, you want something. There's a reason for it.
That's very much appreciated. This is much sexier. Looks like a giant violin. That's looking good.
Watch your feet.
When the 12-year-old girls were here, there were like 11 of them, and for some reason there were no boys. I asked them, why are there no boys? They said, oh, the boys didn't fill out their forms. So it was all, you know, these prepubescent girls. And when they first came out of the door, they were like, wow, this is gorgeous. I mean, just anything green looked so beautiful to them. And then, of course, when I started pointing out the poisonous plants and the weeds, etc., they realized that it could be a lot more beautiful.
Double hoe!
Double hoe. You gotta just gently separate them. That's fine. I think they'll be just great. That's okay. There's plenty of roots there. Whether that's slightly broken or not, there's enough of them here.
I'm not sure yet what I plan on doing in college, but I think I'll probably end up doing something that involves environmental stuff.
Anybody else take away a tray?
Different type of energy sources, stuff like that.
Being an artist, especially an ecological artist, as you'll see from the recent work, is not necessarily something that brings you a lot of money, but you can have a really fun life going all over the world. I was invited to be in this exhibition in an old chateau in the south of France. It used to be a hotel.
What's a chateau?
A chateau is a fancy sort of like a castle with a moat.
Rocking the Boat is primarily a youth development organization. We're based here in the Hunts Point section of the South Bronx, and we use the somewhat uncommon mediums of traditional wooden boat building, maritime skills, and environmental science to help young people grow and develop into whatever they want to be. Building these really complex wooden boats, doing all this complex environmental science work that is supposedly far more complicated than a high school kid could ever actually do. But we're telling them to do it, and therefore they're doing it.
It's not a nerdy thing to do, but some people it's like an awkward thing to do for them. They thought it was going to be whack, but now as they joined the program, they saw the difference, they felt it. Now they enjoy this program, and they want to do more.
All right, we're going to start from the middle and work our way out along the same road that we've already got established here with Scirpus. Scirpus tabernamonte, and it's a bulrush. Scirpus for short. Scirpus. So what you want to do is you want to line it up with the last row.
Look at my nails. This is good? Are we doing good so far? I want to know if we're doing good so far.
Anyways, I'm not a disciplinarian. You know, I get upset. I want things done. I didn't know how to teach. You all know that, right?
Yes.
I wanna be efficient.
Rock the boat!
I've always appreciated nature in like a small way, so I felt like rocking the boat was like a way to get out there more.
I started here as a student back in '05, my sophomore year in high school, and I was terrified going out on the water, but after a while you get used to it and you know you're safe, you're gonna be okay. So I went away for college for 4 years, and now I'm back. I just graduated. So I hope to get my master's in urban affairs and focus on environmental studies and urban
I don't
affairs.
think these need that much massaging. You don't really need somebody separate to pull them out. They're relatively soft, but you want to get them massaged slightly.
I'm very interested in this idea of this artist-led restoration when I'm much more familiar with a scientist-led restoration, in which a lot of these social, cultural factors get kind of tagged on at the end, and then they get more difficult to incorporate. People who are interested in art science questions, I think, will be interested in a lot of the kind of collaborating that's going on out here.
Well, the goal is, to find out, is this a replicable solution? So how much runoff that used to be going in the river is now going here, and as a result, not going in the river? Is this just an interesting sort of one-off for a project, or is this something that we can really start to do in a sort of larger scale? And that's what everybody cares about.
That's the science aspect, which is first and foremost what we're being funded for. But the art part is making the community involved and inviting people to collaborate on the visuals.